The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off-season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Podcast coming to you May 14th, Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. Special guest on the show. It's been about at least 7 years. So I guess I can't call you the president of Heat Twitter anymore because I don't think you're on Twitter anymore.
I'm on Twitter. Just
I don't ever see.
I don't want to claim.
You want nothing to do with Elon?
No.
Is the president of Heat Blue Sky?
Okay, I guess.
Alphonse Sidney,
like 8 of us over there.
Yes, Alphonse Sidney, Alf 954 with us on the show. It's been a long time, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Looking great, number one. It's been a long
you.
time. We were talking about before the show started. Like the last time you were on the podcast actually was fucking 2018.
Yeah,
2018 before the midterms,
before the pandemic.
My God, so much things have happened. And you got married since then.
Got married, became a father.
Your father.
Somehow Trump is still in office.
Some things change. Some things does stay the same.
When you do the math, if you would have asked me when I come back on the show in May 2025, will Trump still be the president? I would have said somehow he's circumvented the Constitution and he's back and he's in his third term. He's still circumvented the Constitution, but it's a little bit different. Either way, I would have called you a liar and I would have moved to Canada. But here we are.
But you're here, and you're not in Florida anymore. Apparently, like last time you were here, you were living in Florida. You're now in Georgia. How's that move? It's pretty good.
Listen, we got the same problems with the governor, but at least I got a big ass house and a yard, and instead of a 12 by 12 hut for $5,000 a month living in Broward County. So listen, I'm good. I miss Florida. I miss some of the weather.
Do you really?
No, I have family. I think I say I miss Florida because I feel like I'm coming down there for 3 days next week for work.
Okay.
And I don't want to go. It's like I'm literally staying on a beach resort in Fort Lauderdale,
and you don't want to go
free. And I'm like,
is it a family part, or is this the fact you just love Georgia now? You're good.
I don't know, man. Florida's hot. Like it's always hot.
Bro,
I'm a big dude.
It's hot. It's hot.
Tired of sweating all the time. I like hoodies.
Yeah.
I just the vibe is down. I don't know. The vibe is different. The vibe ain't what it was. I live in Florida since 1987. All right. It's like Florida, New York transplant. I was 6 years old. All right. So in the Florida of my youth, the Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs area of my youth is not the same. And I don't know if that just makes me sound like an old head. That's fine. I'm old. But it's just, I don't know. I don't feel it like I used to, man. Maybe it's having a kid. And like Florida for me is partying, getting drunk, and all this other stuff. Now I just sit home and do podcasts and get drunk.
So I'm glad you said that. So are you still doing content, right?
Yeah, with Miami Heat Beat, I did a lot of post-game shows this year. No longer doing like hangover time every single night after every single game. That just became way too taxing.
But I gotta tell you though, I remember before you stopped doing it, man, that 2020, especially 2023 when you were doing it, doing that run to the finals. Oh my God! So some of the best content out there, brother. You can listen to the best.
Dude, we had some classics, man, and I think we went out. I think we went out the right time after that, terrible first round series against Boston last year. And it's funny, we went out after that 2023 run. We came back just for the playoffs last year, And it was like, oh man, it was like
that.
it really wasn't the right time to come back. And then so this year, I just joined the post game show, hosted some, but really just came on for vibes and to have a good time. Just a lot less pressure of having to produce and host and do my own show. Like that show was a heavy lift, man. Anybody who watched Hangover Time, that was so highly produced. I mean, shout out to Brass Jazz, the producer. Like, I mean, we had graphics, we had animations, we had segments with music, and I mean, we would do these cutouts like where I would move. It would be Spike Lee, and I'm impersonating Spike Lee as the mouth, and we just had so many crazy things, and it was fun. But man, when I tell you that was work,
yeah, I can tell.
Yeah,
I can tell.
It was work. I mean,
and especially doing that show late at night too. Also, obviously you're doing the post game show, so you're doing that show like after on a typical night, 10 o'clock, 10:30. If you had a West Coast game, good luck with that one. Yeah.
Oh no, we used to do every game. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning after a Golden State game, we up.
Yep.
And you got to remember the premise of that show was to get drunk.
I know.
Because the show came around because of the pandemic, because we could not get together with our friends and watch games. So we said, well, why don't you guys watch the game and then hang out with us afterwards? And like at the peak of the pandemic, it was okay to get drunk on a Wednesday. But, as people started going back to work and shit, like it became a lot harder. Then I had a kid and I'm trying to be quiet at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And, it became a lot harder. But I think for the time, man, for like during COVID, during the pandemic, like I started the show during the bubble run for 5 Reasons Sports.
Right.
And it was just a regular post-game show, but we just ended up, we would have shows go 4 hours after a game.
Right.
Because we were just having a good time. People were coming in and out, just having, and we started doing a podcast called 5 Reasons to Drink, just because people needed some shit to do. And then during the pandemic, it was just perfect for the time. And it had its time and place. I mean, we the Heat build hung on for one more season than they should have, just like we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time, man. We should have traded Jimmy Butler 2 years ago.
We should probably, I guess we could start there if you want to. Okay, so right now we're recording the show in the middle of Game 5 of the Celtics Knicks. Right now the Knicks are down 22. So it looks like now. Granted, we've seen Boston in this series twice come back from New York rather come back from 20-point deficits when a couple games in the series. I don't think it'll happen tonight. We'll see, obviously. But we'll get to the NBA Plus in a second. The Heat first.
Okay.
I'm just glad this year is over.
Yeah.
Before we get to talk about the Heat and the state of that, because I had David Will on the show last week, and we had a little bit of a discussion about the Heat and how they should approach the summer. Before we do that, I'm going to play a clip from Pat Riley's presser from last week on the show, and a quick 20 seconds to see what he said last week at his state of the Heat.
We probably won't run it back, but it doesn't mean that, players aren't just going to show up. I mean, you have to make deals. You have to look at the board. You got to try to do something that's going to benefit with your team and your 2 key guys, if they're your key guys, and I think they are.
All right. So that's Pat Riley from last week.
If you had juxtaposed Trump's voice on that, it would have made like, you have to make deals. You got your 2 guys.
The big deals, big day.
Anyway, sorry.
By the way, I watched that. I'm like, this is the first, and this is the credit to him, obviously being 80 years old. This is the first time that Riley looked and felt old to me.
Oh man, that season aged all of us. I'm only 26.
Yeah,
I mean, no, listen, man, that season aged us. Like that playoff series aged us.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a lot. We don't have enough time for me to get into how I feel the Heat have managed this thing post that 2023 run, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time, it was a lot of fun, but it honestly probably could have been the worst thing that's ever happened to this franchise, because they did not realize that the time was up on the build, right? And I'm afraid sometimes when I hear Riley speak that it feels like we're talking in these absolutes of you have your 2 guys. Why? Why are you married to these 2 guys? Like, listen, I love Bam. If it was up to me, And if I had to keep one or two guys, Bam would be number one. And honestly, for me, and it might sound crazy, my number two would be Davion Mitchell, because that's the kind of guy I want on my team.
That was probably the one bright spot post Jimmy trade was that.
That dude is a dog. Funny enough, he's the kind of guy we should have been going after when we had Jimmy, but we didn't. Right? We kept going. We kept running undrafted guys and all this bullshit out there. Right? Okay, fine. But now, listen. First mistake. After 2023, you didn't get Dame. There was no real pivot. Like, we waited so long for the Dame thing to happen, there was nobody left out there. So instead of building upon a championship team, okay, you lost Gabe, you lost Max. You replaced him with what? Josh Richardson and what's Thomas Bryant? Those are your pickups that offseason, okay? You go into 2024, and very early, that team wasn't it. Like, you could tell that team wasn't a title contender, and that play-in run fooled them into thinking they had a title contending team when they didn't. And they kept making these mistakes of Tyler was working better as a sixth man. They put him back in the starting lineup. No matter how good they looked with Duncan, Kyle Lowry, and Haywood Highsmith in the starting lineup alongside Bam and Jimmy, they kept no. We gotta force Tyler down everybody's throat. Caleb Martin. After he looked like Scottie Pippen in that conference finals, they should have sold high on him, right?
Yeah.
No, they kept him, and even when he still had value, but the team wasn't going to go anywhere, they just kept him. When he was the kind of guy, when you weren't going to go anywhere, could have got you something by the trade deadline. No, they held on to him.
They gotta have to do that shit. They did the same thing with the 2016 team when they went the team that went 13-30 and then 30-13, and they want to hold on to James Johnson, all these other guys, like all
these guys who are just guys, right?
These guys,
just guys. We overvalue them, and then when a guy like Derek White or Kristaps Porzingis or one of these guys shake loose, we don't value those guys, which is weird. But we overvalue these undrafteds anyway. So we didn't do anything with Caleb Martin. Then Kyle Lowry is expiring. He's gonna go away. And honestly, I felt like people hated on him way too much. I didn't think he was that bad of a player. All the numbers suggested were better when he was on the floor.
Don't tell my wife that. She fucking hates that dude.
And listen, and I understand people don't like him. He's a little thick booty, little weird dude, and he playing to the refs a lot, falling down on the floor. He had a little bit of an attitude, like the beat writers didn't like him. But that still doesn't mean you give up a good, big expiring contract. Either you let it go and get the cap relief, or that's a valuable trade piece. Mm-hmm. Instead, we attach a first-round pick.
That was a mistake there. Yeah, I agree.
To Kyle Lowry for Terry Rozier, who anybody with a half a brain could have told you that is a looter and a riot over there in Charlotte. That is, and then they try to tell us, oh, well, I mean, his numbers are just like Dame, it's basically the same thing. And now they're trying to do the same thing with Tyler Hero and Donovan Mitchell, by the way. And I'm like, can we please stop? Have we not learned our lesson? So you made that mistake. You gave up draft capital to bring in Terry Rozier because you still thought you had it's the delusion of still thinking you were adding to a contender with Terry Rozier instead of compounding your mistakes, right? And then whatever debacle happens end of the year, you get 5 games, you're out. Over the summer, you're not extending Jimmy Butler. The run is over. Either you extend him or you trade him. This pussyfooting around and kind of this limbo thing they did. And this is part of my biggest problem with the Heat. And I'm sorry, I long-winded got to this point.
No, I'm good with that.
They do not pick a direct direction. Trying to bully Jimmy into playing more games might be the dumbest fucking thing I ever heard of. It's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's not going to stand for that. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't play more or that he deserved his extension. What I'm saying is pick a fucking lane, bro.
But can I argue that the argument was warranted? Here's the thing. The dude won $60 million a year for the next 3 years, okay? But a guy's playing max 60 games a year and we're still playing a team. At some point, we got to say, listen, the investment is not worth it.
Then trade him and get
which they did. And for the record, I still agree with what they did.
But if they traded him in the offseason, you think it would have been 1 pick and Andrew Wiggins?
No, given what Mikal Bridges fetched back, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you had picked a lane, because they were never going to extend him, and trying to strong-arm him into playing more games was never going to work. So that's what I'm saying. You didn't pick a direction. You kind of just Yeah, like that shit ain't gonna do nothing. Like,
Right.
that is not a competent franchise. And listen, biggest Heat fan in the world. Love Pat Riley. Love this organization. Ride for them all day long. But we got to be out here and calling a spade a spade. They failed flagrantly over the last 2 years.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, though. I'm at a place now where after that game 4 against Cleveland, we got swept in the playoffs, that, and I tend not to be emotional about these kind of things. I try to be a little more sensible, but I slept on it a couple of days. I'm like, you know what? At this point, if the Heat really want to revamp this thing going forward, every player on this roster is available for trade. That includes Bam, who I love very much. Bam, to me, Bam is going to be another UD when it's all said and done. He'll be a Heat lifer, that kind of thing. However, if getting a Giannis requires getting rid of Bam, sign me up.
See, here's my thing. I don't want Giannis.
Ooh.
So here's where I am with it, right?
Okay.
We trade. Okay, so let's look at the landscape. Who's available, right? Let's say Giannis is available.
Right.
It's going to cost you Bam, right?
Yeah.
So you trade Bam and all of your first round picks and first round pick swaps.
Yeah.
And you bring in. So now you have no more assets to help to build out your team. All you have is a bunch of players nobody really wants, right? So you bring in Giannis over Bam. Now you essentially have the same team with Giannis instead of Bam.
A better player, though. I mean, it's a big.
So what are you? What you win 2 games in the first round? Did you just see what did you see what the Bucks have a better team around Giannis than the Heat would put around Giannis? And did you see what just happened to them in the playoffs?
Well, one could argue the Lillard situation between the blood clots and then the Achilles at the end of the series was part of that. So
okay, but even Bam and so Giannis and Lillard never worked out really well.
Right.
So we think it's going to be different with Giannis and Tyler Hero.
I mean,
is that a title team?
Is that a title team? I think. Well, here's the thing. This is where Jayson Tatum all becomes very interesting, because I think the Tatum injury changed a lot in the Eastern Conference.
You switch out Bam and Giannis right now on this Heat roster, because you're very limited in what you can do if you bring in Giannis and get rid of Bam, and you have to give up all your picks.
Right.
So the team is a team, but with Giannis, and let's say you do a bunch of lateral moves, Wiggins for another Wiggins type. You're not trading Hero. You got Davion Mitchell. That team is not a title contender. It's not. I'm like your big 2, Giannis and Hero, not a title contender. So now you've mortgaged all your future, all your picks, and you've given up your best, the guy that most guys want to come play with in Bam Adebayo.
Here's what I'll agree with you on one part of that, though. My concern is necessarily like if I didn't want Giannis, it's for this reason, not what you just said, more so the timeline. So Giannis, phenomenal player, top 3 player in the league. Some may say number 2. The issue is he's 30, number 1. Not that he's old, but his game is not going to get better as he gets older. You look at Kevin Durant, who's 37 years old. Kevin Durant, yes, he's older, but Kevin Durant's still a top 50 player in the league because his game is still aging gracefully. Whereas Giannis, of course, his game is all bully ball, and he's shown very little improvement from the perimeter. So you're getting essentially a 3-year, maybe 4-year max out of him. That's why I said yesterday on the podcast that from the Mavericks, I'm not trading Cooper Flag. I'm keeping Cooper Flag.
The only thing I would say to that is if you're the Mavericks, you currently have a core of win now guys.
You do, but you also have 2 timelines, though. You have the timeline of this win now guys with Cooper, and then when those guys get older and are gone, now you can build around Cooper going forward.
But you're not winning now with Cooper Flag and 2 old guys, you're not. So listen, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Giannis. I can never say his bad. Giannis, Greek freak. Those 3 title contenders right now for the next 2.5, 3 years, right? So it's worth it, in my opinion, because you have a chance to win 1 or 2 championships. The Heat, on the other hand, can't make that move because even if you bring Giannis into what you already have, you have to mortgage the future, and you're not going to win anything, right? So that's where I'm I'm out on a Giannis type. The Heat don't have the luxury of bringing in a Giannis. They have too many holes to fill. So I would be out on Giannis. All right, so that's one guy. Mm-hmm. Then we talk about the Kevin Durant's of the world. Listen, I would not do it personally, but if it's what the things that are being floated out there, Ware, Duncan, Wiggins, and 1 first-round pick, something like that for Kevin Durant, yeah, come on. But once it costs 2 first-round picks or 3, I'm done.
My own thing is draft picks. I mean, maybe things are changing in college basketball. Draft picks to me in the NBA don't mean fucking shit to me.
But no. Here's what they do mean. First, I don't care about the draft pick. I don't care about the rookie. What I do care about is every major deal that we've seen over the last 3, 4, 5 years has the team giving up the superstar has netted 3, 4, 5 first-round picks. And if you don't have them to trade when the Donovan Mitchell becomes available, when the Ant-Man becomes available,
right?
If you give up your entire war chest for a Giannis or for a Kevin Durant right now, when in a year or 2 down the line, when Anthony Edwards becomes available, you don't have anything.
So basically, it's basically ammunition more than else.
Yeah, that's what I don't care about the 13-year-old that will pick up in 7 years. I do not give a shit. First of all, those guys, it's very rare any of those guys win in their rookie contract. And by the time their rookie contract is up, they want to come to the Heat. So I don't care about what I care about is, do you have the assets? Because every time one of these guys becomes available to the Miami Heat, they don't have the, oh, this guy wants to be traded. Oh, he wants to go to the Heat. The Heat have 1 first-round pick to trade. The Heat have no expiring contracts. The Heat never have the ammunition for one of these guys that when they want to force their way to Miami, like if they just had a bunch of pick stockpile, they could have got Dame. But they never have a stockpile of picks. So in my opinion, I wouldn't do a Durant move. I wouldn't do, like, there's only a few guys right now that I think could make a market difference in this roster. At this point, it's like an Anthony Edwards that you compare with Bam on a beautiful timeline. But he ain't going nowhere next year. He's about to be in the conference finals, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. So next year is a year to, and I'll never say the word tank, but next year I would strip this thing for parts if it was me.
So if you're the Heat right now, you don't get involved in these trades, because I think this offseason is going to be one of the most active offseason is not naming free agency, because while it's a very dry free agency market, like I think the biggest name right now, I believe that's going to be on the marquee is Julius Randle. There's going to be a lot of whales on the move. I think we're going to see a lot of shit happening this summer. I think the Luka thing we saw in that the trade happened to Luka in February was a sign things to come. I think you'll see Giannis on the move most likely. Trae Young could be on the move most likely. I think Jaylen Brown could be on the move most likely as well too. Also, a guy like John Morant could be on the move as well too. So I think there's a lot of big names and a lot of good players that may start stripping onto the studs. I can see Cleveland getting rid of probably some of the big guys. You know, just kind of even out their team.
I mean, Boston wants to strip this thing down.
Boston wants to even Tatum injured or not. They want to.
But here's the thing:
because of payroll.
The Heat need too much.
Yeah,
the Heat need too much. The Heat don't need 1 or 2 guys. They need an entire revamp.
Can you still build a team around Bam as a 2 or 3? Yes or no?
Absolutely. I think Bam could. If Bam is your second best player overall and your third best offensive player, I think you have a title team.
I agree with you 100% on that. I've been saying for years that he should be in that Draymond role.
Yeah, but it also matters how high is your ceiling raiser, right?
Right.
Playoff Jimmy damn near got them there, right? When it was Goran Dragic was the second best offensive player, and Tyler Hero was playing pretty well too.
Right.
Bam was just, Bam would give you 15 points, and then every once in a while I'll give you 23.
Yeah.
You were golden. But we all knew that was short-lived, and Jimmy getting to those peaks, it just was not sustainable over an entire playoff run, of course, right? Mm-hmm. So I think Bam could be like, listen, if you can go out there and get an Anthony Edwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can get, a solid power forward. I don't know who it is, but it ain't gonna happen next year with how they're built right now.
I guess my question is 80-year-old Pat Riley have the gumption to rebuild?
No, he doesn't, and that's why we're getting Kevin Durant. Mark my words. I would put it at 85-90% Kevin Durant is in Miami Heat uniform next year.
It wouldn't bother me. And I think if Kevin Durant's here, so you say Durant will fetch what? Wiggins?
I think it's going to be like Wiggins, Ware, maybe another young guy. I think Duncan's going to go.
Yeah. Duncan's expiring contract, I think, too old. Yeah.
A first-round pick.
Yeah. You can that's a top in the East next year with Boston being compromised now with Tatum being out. You're in the mix for a top 4 seed in the East Conference with that.
But now here's the thing. Now you've lost another pick. Okay,
that's true.
So now you're down. I think now after that season, you got 2 picks you can trade. That's what I'm saying. If it was me, what I would do, I'd tear the whole thing down for parts.
That would require probably getting rid of Bam and Tyler too. Also,
no, not. But see, the only one I wouldn't get rid of is Bam. If Tyler can get you 1 first-round pick, you do it.
Tyler's season he had this year certainly he elevated his trade value.
Yeah, and the thing is, because the Heat have a lot of guys that are a luxury for a very good team. Yeah. Duncan Robinson, love him to death, but you're not good enough for a Duncan Robinson. Like, the Boston Celtics can survive with Sam Hauser, right? Mm-hmm. The Miami Heat aren't good enough to survive a Sam Hauser type. They need to, I'm watching teams right now that can't hit the broadside of a building. Yeah. They can use a Duncan Robinson. We don't have that luxury. Right. I'm watching teams that could use a Tyler Hero. See if you can get a first-round pick from them. What I would do is just do everything I can, bring in expirings, get as many first-round picks, build up your war chest, and then just suck next year. Okay? Just suck next year. You don't
think this roster with a full camp, let's say this exact roster comes out next year, full camp, they know who they are. Wiggins is healthy, clear mind. Tyler had a great year. Bam is still pretty goddamn good. This team can still compete even mid-level in the East.
No, I honestly I want to reach to the screen and grab you and choke you for saying full camp. Like I'm so upset that you said full camp.
I'm just wondering, like,
this team just got boat raced by Cleveland, who just got boat raced by Indiana. They're not good enough. And honestly, what fascination do we have about it being a middling team?
No, I'm just curious. I think for me,
let's say everything shakes right and they're a 6 seed.
Right. I'm not suggesting for the record that we do that. I'm saying I have so much faith in Eric Spoelstra to take little and make chicken soup out of chicken shit.
Well, how about we give him chicken soup?
Well, we've been trying to get chicken soup, and no one wants to play with us. Damian Lillard.
But that's not true. That's not true. People want to come here, but we never have the assets to get them. That's what I'm saying. We need to restart it, build the assets up, so when Anthony Edwards, who loves Bam Adebayo and who loves Eric Spoelstra, wants to leave Minnesota, because why would any nigga want to stay in Minnesota? Word to Kevin Garnett, okay? Let us have the 5 first-round draft picks to give up for Anthony Edwards for once, right? Let us have the 4 first-round draft picks to give up for a Donovan Mitchell or a Jayson Tatum or somebody like that who shakes free and wants to trade. Instead of us having what? I mean, what was a joke for years? Kelly Olynyk, Kendrick Nunn in a second-round pick. That's always when people talk about the Dame package just got their ass handed to them by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay. Can we stop doing that? Can we be the team can we be the Knicks and say, okay, I'll give up 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges because I got it like that. Now, don't ever give up 5 first-round draft picks for Mikal Bridges.
But unless you're Knicks, though, Knicks go Nick, obviously, though, and
we're
gonna get a game 6 here because they're down by 23 points with 4 minutes ago. So
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Good job by the Celtics. It's a wrap. It's a Bing Bong, New York Knicks. Bing Bong, right? Yeah. I just realized. So I've been a Heat fan 36 years. You talk about pre-Riley. You talk about Cycli Rice era. I don't think we've had a real rebuild probably in at least 22 years.
No, I mean the last one probably
when Zoe got sick.
So even like the Caron Butler year, when they drafted Caron, they really I mean, they were bad. I think Riley kind of admitted it the other day. They were pretty much bad on purpose. That's when they got Dwayne.
Right.
And then you can talk 2007, but 2007 was just a rash of just crazy injuries.
No, and only that, Dwayne got hurt. In a way. So we had the star ready. So it wasn't a rebuild. We just got hurt. That's all.
Yeah. And listen, and people are like, oh, why would you do this in the middle of Bam's prime? Because about my suggestion, and I'm like, we did it to Dwayne. In the middle of Dwayne's prime, we said we need to do everything we can because the track that we're on right now is never going to result in a title. Mm-hmm. We weren't complacent. And we said, if you watch everything they did for 2 years, by the time 2010 came, I think they had 2 or 3 contracts on their books because they were ready. Because at that time, free agency was a thing. But now it ain't free agency. Nobody gets a free agency anymore.
No.
You got to go through trades. And for trades, you have to have assets. You have to have capital. And the only way to do it right now is like this idea of just, always only having 2 or 3 picks to trade. It's just not going to get it done.
Well, we've gotten spoiled. I ain't gonna lie to you as Heat fans because they've done all they can to keep this thing relevant as possible. But at some point, sometimes all good things come to an end. I think we reached that road now with the Heat where like we have to. You're right.
I think the fan base is ready for it, man. They're tired. This fan base is tired of the fucking play-in tournament. We are tired of the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that I don't think people are also ready for a 25-30 win team either.
That's fine.
And that's the direction we're going to end up going in very soon.
But I will say, if as a competent organization, you can't always just bend to the will of your fan base. You have to do what's right for the organization. And right now, what they're doing, in my opinion, what they're doing is not right for the fan base, the organization, the players, the coaches, anybody. Listen, after that performance, any other franchise, somebody's getting fired.
I agree.
Whether head coach, general manager, somebody's getting fired, right? And either they fire somebody or they do something drastic. Something has to change because you can't just sit here and accept the worst home playoff performance in the history of the NBA and just say we're going to run it back because we have the 2 guys. No, you don't. You don't have the 2 guys.
Yeah. So what I gather to close out this segment is that you would prefer a Kevin Durant be on this team than Giannis
because of what it will cost,
right? Because of everything that surrounding that, the circumstances and whatnot.
And I think because in the short term, the Kevin Durant move, you'll have a short term better team because you'll have Bam Adebayo here,
right? And you won't have to whore your entire roster to do it too. Also,
exactly.
Right, that makes more sense.
Remember, I don't care about the roster. You can get rid of any of these guys. I care about the draft picks at this point. I care about the capital. I care about the assets.
That's the new NBA now. Fantasy no longer a thing anymore. I'm with you on that one. We mentioned Jayson Tatum earlier. Obviously Achilles injury, and it's amazing how one player can shift an entire championship conversation, not for 1 year for the present, but even for next year too. Also, because an Achilles injury obviously is a 9-12 injury, which means pretty much he's going to miss all next year, most likely. Mm-hmm. So that being said, this makes the NBA even more wide open, next season. I mean, we know OKC is really good, and we'll get to them in a second. We know Denver's still really good with Jokic, but they're showing some flaws now around that roster. I think the parity in the NBA is just fantastic now, and I think this Tatum injury makes things even more palatable for that.
Oh, listen, this is the most wide open I've seen this league. I mean, every year we get a new champion.
Yeah.
When's the last time we had back-to-back champion?
Warriors.
Yeah. I mean, ever since then,
2017. Yeah.
It's a new champion every year. I think we're definitely going to get a new champion this year. The Celtics can't do it without Tatum. Even though I think we talked about this before.
Give your take yet earlier before the show started. Give me a take.
So listen, as a Heat fan, I hate both of these teams. Okay, so when the series started, everyone asked me, "Who are you rooting for?" I said, "I'm rooting for the Meteor." I'm rooting for a missile strike. I'm not rooting for either of these teams to win. But as things have shaken out, right?
Yeah.
Knicks up 3-1.
Well, now 3-2 as is recording. We're about to get this.
Yeah. Okay. But so rewind back.
Right.
Knicks up 3-1.
Yeah.
The Tatum injury happens. The Boston fans can't even claim that that's why they lost that game.
Nope,
because they were going to lose that game.
Right.
Tatum injury or not, right? So Knicks, you see them out the street, bing bong, Knicks tape, blah 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 blah.
So annoying.
Drinking Hennessy out of Timberland boots. Okay, super excited, running around the rat-infested streets. Super excited.
Wait, aren't you in New York, Attilo?
I was born there. I don't claim.
So was I.
Yeah, I don't claim. I was here. I was in Florida from time I was 6. I'm not in New York.
Okay.
So yeah, running around the rat-infested streets, eating their Sbarro. I don't know what they do up there. Super excited. They're going to the conference finals. They haven't been to the conference finals since when?
1999.
1999. So listen, they have never seen an HD conference finals. Okay, let's just say that. All right, they've never seen 1080p.
Yeah,
ever. Okay, so they're super excited. How funny would it be on 2 planes if the Celtics come back from a 3-1 deficit and beat the New York Knicks? Like, how crestfallen, how dejected will that fan base be, right? So there's a beauty in that. Secondly, to do it without their best player, Jayson Tatum, quote-unquote best player, Jayson Tatum, right? So even more dejected to be a Knicks fan. And then also, for all of us Jayson Tatum haters, such as myself, further diminishes his superstar status. So, like, all the wins I would get from that. 1, dejected New York Knicks fans. 2, super dejected because they gave up a 3-1 lead to a team without their best player. And then 3, further diminishing Jayson Tatum as the face of the league, a true superstar, who I just think is a complete fraud, cringy hack.
And here's why, if you hate both teams, you should root for Boston, because you get your win-win now. Because we know Boston, they win this series, takes on New York. Great story, big for the Knicks. We also know that Boston's not good enough to win the title now, even without Tatum.
No, they're gonna get boat raced by Indiana.
Yeah. So you get the win-win here, where Boston doesn't win the title, but they also got a chance to embarrass, the Knicks, coming from 3-1. So you get both ways. So
and the thing is, for the Knicks fan to get to a conference finals is a win. You understand? They can get swept by Indiana. First of all, they might beat Indiana. Like, that's a toss-up series, in my opinion.
I think
a fully healthy Knicks team, fully healthy Indy team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Indy's a better team, but who knows? These playoffs have been really funny.
They were here last
I don't want them to get, but even if they lose in a 6-game series and Brunson gets hurt, because at some point Tibbs is going to kill that little kid. That poor man. Like, there's no way somebody his size.
You have to admit, though, Nick hater aside, he is likable, Brunson.
Oh, he's awesome. I don't like some of the foul baiting bullshit, but honestly, it wasn't working for him in these playoffs, and he stopped it. I don't know if you've noticed.
No.
He stopped the foul baiting. I mean, not completely, but he went away from that and just started playing ethical ball, which I'm all for. But you can't play for Tibbs at that size and not die eventually. Like, Tibbs is going to kill him. So I don't even think – so, but here's my problem. If they get to a conference finals, Knicks fans are going to beat their chest about a conference finals. It's our year next year. Oh, yeah, New York Knicks. But go New York, go New York, go. Like, I'm telling you, they're going to be so hyped.
Orange and blue skies. Orange and blue skies.
Exactly. Now, imagine they don't – so we can't let them touch a conference finals, right? So imagine they lose this way, and then Boston gets skull drugged by the Indiana Pacers. I don't even know if I'm going to watch the finals at that point. I will be so satiated as a basketball fan. I don't know if I need to watch any more basketball for this season.
No, the NBA Finals is being played right now as we speak. Really. OKC Denver, in my opinion, is the best series we're going to get moving forward.
Man, I wouldn't count out Minnesota right now.
I'm not. I mean, obviously, Ant's great, man, but But here's the thing with New York, because we're both New Yorkers too. Also, I'm born as well in Brooklyn. I don't hate the Knicks like you do, but I have a weird infested history of the Knicks, though, because during the early years before Pat Riley came to Miami, I was obviously a Heat fan, number one, no matter what. But we weren't good. We were at most a 42-win team with fucking Sasha Danilovic, whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when the Knicks, I'm a big Pat Ewing fan, though. So when the Knicks were playing the Bulls and the Rockets back in the days, I root for the Knicks. Because I hated Jordan as a kid. Hated him. Still do. Greatest of all time, though. He's still a GOAT.
Yeah, LeBron. And I hate LeBron.
You hate LeBron? Oh, we'll get to conversation later on.
He's still the GOAT.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But the thing with the Knicks is that when they got rid of Ewing in 99, 2000, where it was, the way they treat him out the door rubbed me the wrong way. And ever since then, I've had a distaste for that franchise and for that owner and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm also all New York in other sports. Look, I'm a Met fan of baseball.
I'm a Giants fan.
I'm a Giants fan in football. Hardcore. You know.
Okay, so you want to know something I've never actually said on any public forum.
Go ahead.
Okay. So growing up in New York, so you got to remember at the time where I first became cognizant of sports, right? 5 years old, 1986. I believe 85, 86, or 87, Lakers win a title.
Right.
But Dad's a big Magic fan.
My all-time favorite athlete, so yeah.
Magic Johnson became my favorite athlete, right?
There you go.
So I was a huge Lakers fan. So being a huge Lakers fan, I love Pat Riley because
right.
How do you not as a Lakers fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pat Riley goes to the Knicks. I became a Knicks fan. Also, the Knicks were my East Coast team. Lakers were my West Coast team. So I was like in the early 90s, I was with you. I hated Jordan. I hated the Bulls.
There you go.
I cried when I forget what year. It might have been 93.
With Charles Smith?
Oh, yes.
93. Game 5.
Cried when the Knicks lost.
Yep.
Okay. The second Pat Riley left the Knicks, it was fuck the Knicks for me.
So it was a Riley thing for you.
So I followed Riley and at that point I was living in South Florida. Riley came down, and then my favorite player, I had my two favorite players in the NBA at that point were Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning.
Oh.
Because everybody in the mid-90s was a Charlotte Hornets fan for some reason. I don't know if you remember that.
Serendipity. Oh, yeah, not me. Because the Heat and the Hornets were rivals.
Oh, I love the Hornets.
Remember when we came in the league the same year?
Yeah. But everyone had those Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Everyone loved a lot of people loved the Hornets. So I loved Larry Johnson, Grandmama, and Alonzo Mourning were my two favorite players. Alonzo Mourning comes to the Heat. Pat Riley comes to the Heat. Couldn't tell me shit. Like, real quick.
That was for me. It was bittersweet because I was a huge Glenn Rice fan. Huge to this day. But get rid of him. We knew we had to get rid of him, but it was hard to lose him. But,
and listen, and then I still was a Lakers fan too. So I was a Lakers and a Heat fan.
Oh shit.
So all the way up to 2003, when I hated Kobe, loved Shaq, and then they picked Kobe over Shaq, and I was done. Shaq comes to the Heat, serendipitous.
Very serendipitous. Your whole Heat fandom is serendipitous, honestly.
What's that?
Your entire Heat fandom is serendipitous, honestly.
No, all my favorite players just kept coming to the Heat. So it was just like, okay.
It's like a funnel.
Shaq, Tim Hardaway. I love Tim Hardaway. What's his name? Now I'm drawing a blank.
Not Walt Williams.
What a weird favorite player, Walt Williams.
Yeah.
What's his face? Not J.R. Ryder. Jamal Mashburn. Love Jamal Mashburn.
I love Jamal Mashburn in the regular season, not during the playoffs.
Oh, I mean, Eddie Jones, Pompano Ely High School. You know, from the Lakers, went to the Heat. The Heat Lakers and the Heat Lakers Pat Riley thing is just always. And then, but once they picked Kobe over Shaq, I was done with the Lakers. Hated it. Now, Lakers are one of my most hated teams.
Is it really?
I hate them. I also hate their outsized coverage. Every time they make a trade for some bum, it's going to be, it's like that title they won in the bubble. Like it doesn't do justice to the failure of LeBron's run there.
You're officially now on the hate LeBron thing, though?
I love LeBron as a player. I think he's the greatest player of all time. Some of the cringy shit.
He's inauthentic.
He's super inauthentic.
He's too fucking robotic and for my taste. And even though I defend him a lot because, some of the things he does, I understand what he's doing, and he's not really capable of like explaining himself properly in that way when it comes to politics. But still, it's just one of those things where like he just seems so fake.
He's just cringy. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just fake. It's just, and honestly, I don't even blame him. Right? Like you have been a product of media hype since you were 16 years old. Right? You have been raised in a media age where everything you are and who you are publicly is curated, right? So like Jordan didn't have there weren't camera phones. Jordan was out here drinking, smoking cigars before games. Like, that's why his eyes yellow now.
Yeah,
the man lived. That
nigga lived fucking
heavy,
bro.
LeBron has never been able to live like that. You know what I mean? So of course his whole personality is curated. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but I also can separate how I feel about him as a personality. It's never going to be as a person because a man has never gotten in trouble a day in his life. Okay,
that's the thing too. Also, I admire same woman for so many years, family's intact, and seeing that in a sport, especially where you have guys that have like 5 different mamas and fucking 12 different kids and shit. LeBron is doing it. Well, I believe is the right way to do it. So I admire him for that. But at the same time, the other things seem kind of fake, though. You know what I'm saying?
Like the curated personality and stuff like that is just annoying. But and I also can separate it from the fact that he is the greatest basketball player I have ever seen, and I'm of the age like you that I watched Jordan. I watched Jordan a lot.
Yep. We saw all 6 Jordan titles, all 6 of them.
I'm sorry, in real time. If you told me that one day somebody was going to be built like Karl Malone, another person whose personal life I'm not a fan of, but built like Karl Malone, but moves like Jordan. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a perfect basketball player.
Yeah, I agree. No, LeBron. I'm a little surprised though. It has nothing to do with the Heat, though, right? Him leaving the Heat, does it?
I mean, that was the start of it, Yeah. But I don't really hold it against him. But he just rubs me the wrong way. But like I said, I'll defend to the death his status as the greatest player of all time. I think there's a lot of fan fiction and a lot of romanticizing of 90s basketball that happens with Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's because it was like the first decade where not first, but like there was like the whole fascination of like basketball really blowing up in the 80s when it was no longer on tape delay and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the personalities became a thing. And then Jordan became this larger than life figure because of the shoes and the commercials and all this different stuff. So like all of us, a lot of the guys who sit here and talk about Jordan in a certain respect, we were coming of age as Jordan became this larger than life athlete. It's like growing up with Muhammad Ali. You can't tell somebody my dad's age as another boxer better than Muhammad Ali.
Because he saw it, he lived it, and that's what he's really.
And listen, maybe Muhammad Ali is the best boxer ever. But I'm talking like honestly, I watched Lennox Lewis, and I'm telling Lennox Lewis would have beat Muhammad Ali's ass. Right?
You think so?
Oh yeah. And Muhammad Ali's like I have Muhammad Ali T-shirts. I grew up. I've read every Muhammad Ali autobiography ever.
Right.
But I'm just talking about like just skill wise. Lennox Lewis is one of the greatest heavyweights I've ever seen. Right. Yeah. And I think that I don't even think he's the greatest. I'm just saying we romanticize certain things and certain people become larger than life. Muhammad Ali is one of them. I think Michael Jordan's one of them. But like when we just really break it down, Michael Jordan, I don't think he's ever won a playoff series without Scottie Pippen.
Right.
We can't say that about LeBron James. The whole 6-0 in the finals, but you only got there 6 times. How many years did you play? What happened to all the other years?
It's also a lazy argument too. I always said that I think Jordan's a GOAT. I would never use 6-0 as a reason why he's a GOAT.
Listen, I'd rather get to the finals 9 times than only 6.
I think Magic's 9 and 5 rings and 9 tries is actually more impressive than the 6-0 because to me, and not only that, Magic also played against all-time great singular teams.
Listen, and as much as I remember and love the 90s, the competition, like look at the Knicks teams that used to give the Knicks and the Pacers teams that used to give Jordan hell. Like go down those rosters.
Oh yeah.
You're not. I mean, the Knicks team, what is it? 1 Hall of Famer?
Yep.
The Pacers team, 1 Hall of Famer?
Reggie Miller, that's it.
And Reggie Miller is a borderline Hall of Famer.
He's overrated.
Overrated as shit. Yeah. Patrick Ewing is one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen.
I love Pat Ewing.
That was a time when the big man. But like, look at who Jordan ran through, right?
Yeah.
You look at the Lakers team he beat.
That was a Lakers team. And by the way, that Lakers team was a Lakers team that wasn't even supposed to be in the finals that year. They were doing a sneaky rebuild because that was post Kareem. Vlade was trying to figure who the hell they were. Magic had a phenomenal MVP year. You know,
it's completely hobbled. Like that Lakers team that they beat in that finals beat the shit. Like Sam Perkins was playing a lot of fucking minutes.
Right.
Okay?
The finals we got the year after, Portland, Chicago, we should have gotten the year before that.
Yeah, because Portland was a better team.
Right. So
now, and then even look at that Portland team. How many Hall of Famers there?
Just one.
Okay.
Clyde.
The Suns team. How many Hall of Famers there?
Just one. Charles.
Okay. The Jazz was his, and like that Sonics team. Oh my God, I love that Sonics team. That second three-peat was harder than the first three-peat.
Yeah.
But at that point,
that team was stacked.
Oh my God. Kukoc, Pippen, Jordan, Rodman. I mean,
Ron Harper was an all-star before he fucked his knee up.
Yo, people don't realize who the fuck Ron Harper was before he got to the Bulls.
Hello.
Okay, so you talk about that team, that squad. Okay, Steve Kerr, who has 5 rings himself.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Kerr, one of the first sharpshooters we've seen in the league like that.
Right.
That was really like that. That listen, liability defensively, but you didn't care because he can go. He had Steph Curry range back in the 90s. Okay, so you look at that. So at that point, he had this stacked squad. So while I think Jordan is the second greatest player of all time, I don't take nothing away from him. I'm sorry, I'm not. You're not going to just convince me that because he went 6-0 in the finals that I'm just going to shut up about LeBron. Like, stop giving rings talk. Don't move me. Unless we're talking about Dwayne Wade versus James Harden. That's a whole nother story.
Yes, that's a whole other story. And trust me, I think after we saw in the first round, I think that argument.
I think we better never have this conversation again.
No, seriously, like I said, it was like I was insulted. Like, I get the numbers and stuff, but if you marry the numbers,
with the numbers, even the okay, let's do playoff numbers. Like, let's do playoff risers. Let's do winners. Like, let's do defense. The fact that Dwayne Wade locked. If it was time to win a game, you could put Dwayne Wade on the other team's best player and lock him down. Like, you would never do that. James Harden, you're hiding him in the corner. Like, let's get out of here. Let's stop with that, because I don't love ring talk. But when somebody wins a ring on their back in their third year in the league, we're gonna talk rings at that point.
Right. So watching, I mentioned earlier, the NBA Finals to me is this second round series between the Thunder and the Nuggets. Watching these last two games, the OKC they've done, like, when teams, when they win a title, they have that yearbook or that little video or DVD they put out of the team, and they tell the story of it was this point in the year or this point in the season where this team figured it out and it carried them to the championship. The little story, the narrative. If this Thunder team wins a title in June, Game 4 and then Game 5, last night we saw, will be the inflection points of why this team figured it out. To me, this Thunder team grew up fast in these last two games.
Yeah, I'll say a team like the Thunder, it's very hard to find flaws in them, right?
Right.
The flaws that you're going to find are all these intangibles that, like, listen, in this day and age of like analytics and everything else, it's very hard to wrap your head around things that can't be quantified. But that youth and inexperience it's something that, I don't know how many examples of it. We had a team with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, get boat race in the finals against the Miami Heat, right? It's not that they weren't great at the time. They weren't in their primes, but there's just an experience factor. And that is what I fear. Like you said, they grew up, but did they grow up enough? Like, did they grow up enough to get to the conference finals, right?
Right.
Or did they grow up to get to the finals? Did they grow up enough to win the finals? Because we saw the Celtics go through this.
Yep.
They had one of the longest growing ups ever. You know what I mean? Like, Tatum and Brown have been in the playoffs. As long as pre-COVID.
I think 6 or 7 conference final appearances alone, 2 NBA Finals appearances, 1 title.
And they just had to and this is how it used to be, right? You used to have to take those lumps until you eventually got there before we started dealing with these super teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to believe in the Thunder because I really they're like the antithesis of the Miami Heat, of the way they built the team. And I'm not saying I ever want the Heat to go through that shit, but I do respect what they've done. You know what I mean? And that they've done it multiple times in such a small market. And I like SGA. I like Chet. I just like the way they put their team
It's a
together.
good team. It's a team. You look at that team also. Like, yeah, they got a star and another budding star in Jalen Williams, but they play for each other. Like, it's a team.
I mean, it feels like there's no egos on that team,
Right?
But then sometimes like you need that ego at the end of a game, right? But I think SGA has some of it. I just don't know if SGA is a killer.
He's very Kawhi-like though.
Yeah,
very quiet. This is his job.
But Kawhi was at the end of a game. Kawhi can be a killer. I don't know if SGA's got that in him.
Well, we saw it last night in the game, though. He showed that. So
but that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's an inflection point. Maybe this is the start of it now.
Is that a conference finals killer? You know what I mean? Like, there's just, to me, there's levels to this, and I want them, but I also I want, listen, there's a lot of things about Ant's personality and his personal life and the kind of person he is I'm not in love with. But as a basketball player, I want to see Ant ascend. You know what I mean? I want to see that happen. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what, I feel like this is a year where we're gonna see that next superstar, and we need that in this league right now. Because I don't think it's gonna happen with the Warriors. I think they're done without Steph.
Right.
So the Warriors are done. I think the Celtics are done without Tatum. Hopefully they get past the Knicks. But I think we're gonna see like a Halliburton or an Ant or an SGA.
Brunson.
What's that?
Oh, I mean Brunson.
I don't want to see Brunson. I don't want to see good things happen for the Knicks.
I understand. I totally get it.
Yeah, listen, Brunson. No, can't be the face of the league. Like that hair is ridiculous. No, sorry.
And the whole was this thing he does that thing?
No, I can't do it. Can't do it.
I don't know.
I don't want good things for Knicks fans.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
No.
Well, I mean, Edwards. Go ahead.
I do think we're going to see that next superstar come out of these finals, and I want it to be, Halliburton. He's a weirdo, but that'd be fine. I'd really like to see it to be. I really like it to be SGA or Ant.
I think,
but also it might just be another Jokic year.
He's so good though. He's so good, and you see the leadership too. Also with him, you see him putting the effort. I feel bad because I wouldn't mind seeing Russ get a title. Because say one about Westbrook is chaotic, but one thing was with Russ that he gives his all.
Hard.
He plays hard. He gives his all.
I never wanted him on my team, but he plays hard.
He plays very hard. Unlike Michael Porter Jr., who's 2 points last night in Game 5. 2 points. Oh, by the way, Michael Porter Jr. paying that guy $34 million a year.
Yeah, but against the Heat, he couldn't miss a shot. Whatever.
This is what it is.
Another Ty Jerome. Anyway.
Another Ty Jerome. So, would you say the Thunder your favorite to win the title right now?
No, man, it's hard. I don't know. I think to me,
I don't trust Minnesota just yet to win a title.
I don't know. I think I do, which is weird. I don't know. It's so up in the air right now. I'm so focused on the Knicks losing. I feel like I haven't even thought about this. Yeah, I really I don't think I've thought past the Knicks losing. That's just really been my focus as a basketball fan, and just enjoying the basketball.
See, it's tough for me. I can't hating the Knicks is weird because I got to break bread with these motherfuckers in September. Because how it works, nobody's like, okay, well, if you're a Jet fan, you're a Met fan. If you're a Giant fan, Yankee fan,
and people, Knicks fan.
Yeah, people assume the Nets. No, fuck, the Nets are involved in this shit. No one gives them the Nets. What Jersey or Brooklyn?
People go to Nets games,
right?
The Knicks are off that night.
Right. The Knicks split the baby always, so they always have both. So I gotta break bread with these motherfuckers pretty much all year long. Whether it's the Mets or whether it's the Giants. A
lot of my friends are Knicks fans, and they're all Jets fans. So never had that issue.
Damn.
They're all Jets fans.
Very depressing. Very depressing life to have. You know?
I mean, Giants and Yankees fans live a abundant lifestyle. I'm not a Yankees fan either, though. I'm just
Funny enough, I don't relate to the Yankee and Giant fans though. Uppity, I'm more of the middle class, rugged. That's where I met a Jet fan would reside though. But whatever, dude. All right, let's switch up a little bit out of sports. Let's talk about the Diddy Trial start this week.
Yeah.
This what 3 days into this thing, and this shit is popping. I saw Cassie took to stand this week, and wow, some of the shit you're hearing from that she's alleging now in there. Forget the fact that we saw the video. Then now we saw the entire video. Now there's a full 15-minute version of the video now from the hotel when she got beat up by Diddy.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Apparently shot in the courtroom. Apparently, the entire video, unedited. That my motherfucker's toast. But yeah, you have now things about they're talking about the freak offs and all this stuff. What have you heard and anything to react to so far in the trial 3 days in?
Listen to me. A lot of okay. So one thing, for years, right? I've always said Diddy is who y'all think Suge Knight is.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy really is who the general public thinks Suge Knight is. Like Diddy is really that guy. He is not. Listen, you do not get to the top of the music industry, come out of Harlem without doing dirt. It just doesn't happen. As a 20-year-old kid in the 90s, it just doesn't happen, right? Diddy and listen, from beating up Steve Stout with a champagne bottle, Diddy's persona, his public persona, and who he really is. And this is just from years of being a hip hop fan and hearing the stories. And people always think the East Coast West Coast beef started with Biggie allegedly shooting Tupac in the studio, but it started when Diddy's people killed one of Suge's people in Atlanta. Okay, let's go back to where this shit started. So Diddy Diddy has been a piece of shit for a long time. All right. But he was a piece of shit making a bunch of people money. So a lot of people didn't say, or there was just a general fear of him. Right. Mm-hmm. I even listened to Life After Death and the shit he was saying on some of those songs, Long Kiss Goodnight. He's screaming, look what you made me do, and they're talking about Pac, and Pac was already dead. So take that as you would, as you want. And when he's I ain't talking about no other rappers, I'm talking about you, motherfucker. And that he's directing that at Suge at that time. So you got just think of who Diddy is. So the violence and the piece of shittery, whatever, doesn't surprise me. Right? I guess I made up a new term, piece of shittery. I like it.
Piece of shittery.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is the violence, the violence towards a woman like that. That Cassie video is super jarring.
Oh my God.
And freak offs, orgies in the music industry, not so. But once when you get to coercion, when you get to drugs, when you get to certain things that are alleged that he made,
sex trafficking, all that shit.
Yeah, when it gets to that point, I'm you know what, that is to me beyond the pale where I would have never expected that. I'm not surprised by it, but I would have never expected it. And like I said, I'm not surprised though. And those are the kinds of things I'm bro, anybody defending him at this point, you're sick, you're twisted. I don't care how much you love It's All About the Benjamins. I love It's All About the Benjamins. But at some point, you just gotta be let you wash your hands. I'll listen to the music. The other day, I almost wore a Sean John sweater, some old.
Oh shit! Take that off. You still got that?
Yeah, at the back of the closet, I was oh shit! And I realized it. I was oh no, not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I just what bothers me the most about it, one that really bothers me the most is the sex trafficking, the rape, the sexual assault, the beating of women. But then on another level, bothers me is the amount of people defending him. And it gets less and less every day, but I just feel there's this rush sometimes, and I understand as Black people, we want to defend our own, because there are times we are unfairly persecuted, whatever you want to call it. But when you start defending R. Kelly, when you start defending Floyd Mayweather, when you start defending Bill Cosby, what are we doing? What are we doing? We have real heroes. Okay, there are real heroes out there that need to be defended, and you choose the scum of the earth, the lowest of the low. That just bothers me. It'll never not bother me. Oh, they're trying to just go after a Black man because he had money. Shut up. There's a video of him beating the shit out of a woman. Yeah, get over yourself.
You don't see much in the defense though. You might see an idiot on social media, but half the time those accounts are fake anyway. So.
brother.
Yeah.
They're out there.
I know they're out there. Definitely,
You probably
are out
run.
there.
You run in good circles. If
Well, I try to avoid bullshit.
yeah,
I
well,
try to avoid bullshit.
they're there.
No, but like I was never Diddy fan anyone in one. I've always felt this dude was dirty. I always felt this dude had something to do with Biggie's murder. I've always felt he's been into a lot of shit he shouldn't have been involved in. Dating back to 1999, that shooting at the club and with J-Lo and shit, and and
let Shine tell it. He'll tell you what really happened.
Yeah, Shine's speaking. He's just speaking his truth now, dude. And I'm here for it, man. But I always felt that dude was shady as hell. I didn't think it went this far. I thought it was just like this gun shit violence. That's it. The fact he's a fucking woman beater and
like it was like okay,
people. Come on, man.
We understand the street shit, right?
Yeah.
But like, and I think that's part of what happens with power. Like when you get to the point where the street shit isn't enough anymore,
mm-hmm.
you look for other things that satiate whatever that violent, that sociopathic need for drama, chaos, whatever it is. Like, and just man, when they say power corrupts, man, power corrupts. So like, I don't ever put it. I'm not one of these people like, oh, everybody in Hollywood is a sex trafficking pedophile. Like I'm not one of these weird that conspiracy theorists. Like, calm the fuck down, all right?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, yeah, man, like I don't get surprised when somebody who never gets told no doesn't know how to take no, or doesn't even understand that no is happening to them, and just decides to do whatever the fuck they want because they feel like they're untouchable. And Diddy got to that point. He felt like he was untouchable, and I'm glad he's getting touched. And I hope they bury him under the jail.
You think he get convicted?
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much shit. There's too much shit out there.
There's video of him beating the shit out of him. Like,
I'm actually more curious about who he's gonna bring down with him. That's the
Nino Brown shit.
Could be some politicians involved, some celebrities involved.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like what I would say is, for the other celebrities, quote unquote, involved, like I would have to know what they knew about some of the people at the party, right? Like, did they just think these were like, if let's say it's whoever, if it's Kevin Hart and he's there and he just thinks it's a bunch of girls that want to hang out, well, does he know like there's people are being drugged? Does he know people are being coerced? Does he know people are there against their will? I just, that part I would have to know before I cast any aspersions. But listen, and honestly, at this point, as desperate as Diddy is, would I believe anything that came out of his mouth? I don't know. So I just, honestly, to me, Diddy's the one that got caught. Diddy's the one that's in trouble. Let Diddy burn. Anybody else who's involved, I hope if it's legitimate, they get in trouble too. But at this point, I don't know if I wanted to turn into a witch hunt, because what you see a lot of these people online, they're trying to put two and two together. Anyone who's ever been photographed with Diddy is now a sex freak. Like, it's just like, okay, I'm not interested in that part. I'm interested in like Diddy going to fucking jail.
Right. So safe to say you also out on Kanye too, also, huh?
I've been out on Kanye.
Since when?
I mean, I've always just considered him like an asshole. Like, I just think he's like, but when I really was just done, I think honestly I can't even remember all the different things, but the MAGA stuff, the Trump stuff, when he was sitting in the Oval Office with Jim Brown, and
that shit seems tame now.
I know, but that's when I was done. Like, listen, I'm done with Lil Wayne too. You wear a MAGA hat once, you're dead to me.
Jeez, that bad, huh?
No, I don't play. I have no. I have family members I don't talk to. So,
oh shit!
You think I'm a fuck with Diddy or not Diddy? I'm sorry, Kanye or Weezy or any of these idiots. These whatever shuffling coons, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Fuck them. And I, honestly, with Kanye, sometimes I feel bad for him. I just feel like he's another one of these people who never was told no, and he went a completely different way. Like he just, and I honestly, that for me, Kanye is someone who's not being medicated properly, right?
Clearly.
Yeah, and it's just like, but as somebody, so now here's the thing, right? Just be honest, I think it's a mental health issue, and I do sympathize with those, with mental health issues. But at the point when you start hurting others and demeaning others, and when you have the resources to get help. That is the big thing for me, right?
Yeah.
If you're a homeless guy on the street and you're schizophrenic, right? Like, listen, you ain't got the resources, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But somebody like Kanye has the resources to get help and he chooses not to, or he doesn't have people around
That's
him.
frustrating as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's where I'm just like, well, you know what? Like, I listen, motherfucker ain't gonna listen to me. So why am I gonna sit here and keep support? Like, it hurts me. The guy who made 808 and Heartbreak calls himself a black Nazi, and I can't fuck with him anymore. Like, he's crossed the border to the fact that I won't listen to his music anymore. Like, it takes a long time for me to get there. Like, he's reached I won't listen. I won't even rock his shit.
Any of his music? Any of it?
Nah, I don't fuck with it no more. I just won't. It's just like, if it's on somewhere, I'll listen to it, but I'm not gonna sit here and play a Kanye track.
You're not gonna go out of your way and do it, in other words.
No. It's like R. Kelly. I'm not gonna play an R. Kelly track. Like,
right.
R. Kelly has gotten to that point. Even like we were talking about Diddy, I'll still listen. Diddy's like, it better be a bunch of features, and that's normally what Diddy tracks are. Like, listen, I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna not listen to the Locks and Biggie on It's All About the Benjamins. I'm sorry. Right. But yeah, like Kanye, like, and like I said, it started with me back on the MAGA stuff. It started with me even before that. But like at this point, like what are you defending? What are you defending as a Kanye fan?
Yeah.
Like, his right to be a Nazi? His right to sell swastika shirts?
I will say, though, more people are starting to just ignore him. And I think he's looking for attention. And the more people ignore him, he's going to try to be more and more extreme. And I've been talking about this on the podcast the last couple episodes too with some of the guests, and I was saying that this is going to end tragically, no matter how you slice it. And I think what it's going to take is, once he loses everything, all his fans, people support him. You know, once his kids say, "Nah, we're good, Dad. You're crazy as shit." I think that's the end there for him, unless he turns things around. But I don't see it happening at this point.
And who's in his ear? Because obviously nobody's in his ears.
Nobody's in his ear.
No, it's not working. Like, even his whatever, that lady who was dealing. I don't know these people's names. She left.
The girl, right? Is it the what's her face?
Bianca or something like that?
Yeah, Bianca something. Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't even.
Sensory, whatever.
I'm super surprised I even remembered her name. Like,
yeah, that was good.
I earned myself some
popcorn. Just a minute. You love TMZ. Stop it.
Oh, yeah, big TMZ fan.
Big fan.
But no, I think like she got fed up at one point, and to me, it's always funny when they're finally fed up. I'm like, so all the other shit didn't bother you?
Yeah, exactly.
It took a swastika shirt about, okay, like, because I would have jumped off that fucking crazy train years ago. But yeah. I guess, listen, the money's good. The money's good. You know what I mean? But yeah, Kanye done. Right, I'm not.
Politics. How best are you in politics 2025?
Dude, I listen to Midas Touch like all day, every day.
They're really good, actually.
Yeah, like they release 18 episodes a day. I listen to all 18 at 1.8 speed to make sure I get through it all. I told myself after the election, I'm going to check out of politics. I can't do it.
I did the same thing also, too. And it's funny for me after this election, too, because I got accused of being like a MAGA apologist, because I would talk to people who are conservative, not necessarily MAGA, but on the conservative side on the show, kind of get their perspective on some certain things that we disagree with. And because I would be very critical of the Democratic Party because of some things they were doing to hurt the chances of beating Trump in an election, I got a lot of criticism for that. And I ended up being right in the end about everything I said, and how Joe Biden, I was saying Joe Biden should have ran for re-election back in 2022 during the midterms.
Dude, I thought it was understood. I thought there was an understanding that it was one term and he was going to pass the torch. Like, I swear, I was trying to find the quote. I'm like, bro, I thought we all agreed on this shit.
I had fights on this show with people who we all vote on the same side. Like, I'm not a Democrat. I'm a center left guy. I lean left, obviously more, especially socially. But I don't want Donald Trump to be president. I'm sorry. Take it with that. But I also understood that there are certain things you have to do to care to that vote, and the Democrats weren't doing that. And I had fights with people, on the show a year out before election saying, and I kept warning them, this whole Gaza issue is going to be a problem. And they kept saying, nah, Gaza won't be an issue. Really?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So where I will disagree with you is that you never needed to cater to that vote, right?
Right.
Because that vote is that vote. A lot of that vote is tainted, right?
When you say that vote, you mean like what
The MAGA vote.
Oh, they're not reachable. Well,
no, there's 37% of the country that's just unreachable. They're gone. They're so far gone. Fuck them, right?
But there's a larger soft now. There's a larger people. There's a lot of people who are, I won't call them MAGA, but they vote for Trump this cycle, that are former Democrats or Democrats who are frustrated that, for some reason or another, Democratic messaging, there was some disconnect there.
So what I would say to reach those people is not to be more conservative or not to be more center or not to even be center right. What you do need to do is lean into actual policies that they can, because they agree with you. They agree with you that we need to tax the rich more. They agree with you that we need social services for people. They agree with you that there needs to be a path to citizenship. They agree with a lot of the things Democrats believe in, but the Democrats don't do a good job of relaying those messages to the average Joe. Like, they don't speak in those plain terms that a Bernie Sanders speaks to them. Right. That even an AOC at this point speaks to them. That a Pete Buttigieg speaks to them, right? They don't speak to them in those terms that make it very real and very obtainable. So they speak in these highfalutin terms that the average person can't. But the average person can understand what Trump is saying. I'm going to cut prices day one, okay? And then they're like, I don't like Trump. But then they turn to this side and they're like, well, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I guess this is the guy for me. And then I don't even excuse him of that, because you've excused so much terrible shit because you thought maybe egg prices were going to be lower, right?
Yep.
So like, I don't give them a pass for it, but I'm also not going to give the Democrats a pass, because there's a lot of people that stayed on their couch that you could have reached with the right messaging. Right. Or you could have reached if you gave Kamala a longer runway to really come up with a campaign, or had a real Democratic primary to come out with the right candidate instead of the Democratic establishment picking somebody.
The reason I defended them going to Kamala was because it was late in the game, number one. Also, number two, the war chest was only transferable to her, not to somebody else. So it was more prudent. I get all that. Having said that, I would have preferred a primary without question.
It was the right thing to do at the time, because at the time there was no other choice. And honestly, I thought Kamala was actually a very good candidate. But part of the problem was the runway was too short. People didn't like the process. Some of that messaging was convoluted because she didn't have time to establish a real message. The Gaza stuff was a fucking miss. Her standing up, and I'm not going to say the Gaza stuff is not what was going to bring some of the right over to her side. The Gaza stuff was going to get some of the independents and some of the left-leaning people off of their couch. The people in the base already. Yeah, they were going to there's a progressive base in this country that, to defeat Donald Trump, they showed out in mass to vote for Biden. And we all gritted our teeth and just sucked it up and voted for Biden. And honestly, Biden passed the most progressive policies of my entire life.
He did.
He's honestly one of the best presidents we've ever had. But the Democrats did a terrible job of telling the American people what he was doing, right? But that progressive base came out in droves for Obama. They didn't show up for Hillary, and they weren't going to show up for Kamala after an 8-month campaign or 7-month campaign. And let's also call a spade a spade. There's a lot of people in this country that are just never going to vote for a black woman.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's less and less, though, be honest with you.
And I'm looking at you, Hispanic man, while you're out here fucking around and finding out.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of folks, a lot of people, especially in that community, are regretting it now because of what's going on with the deportations,
wives, cousins,
tariffs now.
The deportations, which is, listen, I'm sorry. Every time I see this person crying on TV that their wife or cousin or somebody got deported, I want to know who they voted for before they get a fucking ounce of my sympathy.
Right.
Because you thought you were different. Like, you didn't think he was talking about you.
And this is the thing.
Talking about Venezuelans.
And this is the thing too about Trump, and this is where he has stuck to his guns pretty much what he said he was going to do. Tariffs. He said that over and over again. I saw it on Joe Rogan's podcast. Tariffs, better, the best word ever, better than love. Okay, you thought this was a fucking joke.
He did. He's doing. The people didn't. All they heard was lower prices, lower egg prices. He's going to bring back manufacturing. He's going to do. That's all they heard. They didn't hear. They did not pay attention to the way he said he was going to do it. The way he's going to do it doesn't fucking work. It's never worked in the history of the fucking world. Like, all of a sudden, tariffs are the fucking... First of all, we ain't talking about tariffs in the fucking Great Depression.
Right.
Because they helped cause the fuck... Or worse than the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's always been tariffs in place. That's the thing that, like, I think sometimes people are like, well, what? No, there's always been tariffs in place. Tariffs are targeted. They're a tool used, and like specifically for certain industries, down to parts and components of certain things, you impose tariffs on because you do have a budding industry in your country where you can level the playing field. But when the gap is this, and the tariff brings a gap to this is still preferential to this, right? And for the audio audience, I'm just saying, you can't make up some of the manufacturing. I work in consumer packaged goods. Every component, every bottle, every jar, every cap I get is from China. Why? Because the price, I'm literally talking about $1 to 18 cents. So you could triple the price, quadruple the price, quintuple the price of, so you can put a 500% tariff on a Chinese good. It'll still be cheaper than what I can get here in America.
Yep.
So at that point, that's not targeted anymore. That is not helping the American. That's not helping the American company. That's not helping the American consumer. That's not even helping the American manufacturer. Because you're not going to get the business because you're only 20% more expensive or 30 or 40% more expensive now. You're still more expensive. All it's going to do is when I buy my packaging, that whatever that percentage increase, I have to pass it on to the consumer. And if you think I'm not, if you think I'm going to eat it, or if you think, believe me, China gives me my price and then tells me and then it tells me, oh, what's this? What the tariff is going to cost you? Like, they're not eating it, and then I'm not going to eat it. Somebody got to pay for it. And he told you that's what he's going to do. Blanket tariffs, not targeted, no thought behind it. And everyone said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Because let's be honest, most of the populace is stupid.
So, in case of the Democratic Party, who is the future in your opinion? What's the next move? Because by the way, we can get mad all we want about how things are bad and woe is me. We got midterms in less than 18 months, brother.
I think
that shit comes quick.
I think it's going to be a blue wave. I really do. And
so?
Honestly,
you think so?
I think it's I definitely do. I definitely do, because the pain is like, here's the thing about this country, about society in general, especially now, because it's such a microwave society that, like, it's so easy to forget, right? The pain has to be so intense for it to resonate with people. And this pain right now is like, we have not even seen it yet. Like, we don't, like, those empty ports from 2 weeks ago, those don't hurt. Okay, now the truckers and the port workers, they're suffering now. The consumer's not going to suffer for another 4 weeks. And whatever tariffs he takes on, puts off, that is not going to rectify itself for months.
Right.
And then a lot of that damage is already going to be done. Like, people are going to lose jobs. Like, I'm telling you, the company I work for is making tough decisions right now. Right? Because we have to, because this shit has affected us so much.
Right.
People don't realize, and then the government workers that have been laid off, the effects from what they're doing to Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security.
They're threatening cuts now. They just said yesterday they're threatening cuts to Medicaid now.
Yeah, 13.7 million people are about to be off of Medicaid. That's his base, by the way. They don't let them fool you and say all black people on Medicaid. It ain't. Yep. His base is on Medicaid. His base is on Medicare. His base is collecting Social Security. His base is veterans who can't get VA care, where they shut down the suicide hotline. Okay, what's happening to the FAA? What's happening all around this country? That pain is going to be felt, and that pain is going to be so harsh that there's going to be a backlash. Now, I'm just hoping the backlash isn't too late, right? And the backlash is going to come in the form of a blue wave, in my opinion. But I think the most important thing for the Democrats to do is not play the centrist role. This is the time in times of like economic peril and times of huge paradigm shifts in the country. This is a time you come out with your most progressive platforms. You start telling people at this point, we need Medicare for all, Medicaid for all.
Yeah.
We need health. Like, you guys see what happens in an unchecked system? What can happen when you have an authoritarian come in? We need healthcare for all. We need, I'm not a believer in a universal basic income, but we need a huge push in this country towards affordable housing, massive infrastructure. I mean, they did it last time during Biden, and they cut off half the fucking programs. We need to subsidize the American people. Because we're not going to cut prices. Like, we're not going to cut costs. At some point, this country needs to start subsidizing the American people, because there's a breaking point. Listen, man, I think they said like $264,000 is the new $100,000. Like, that's
crazy.
Look, think about that. You have to make $264,000 a year to live like someone who made $100,000 did back in the 90s. How many of us are making $264,000 a year? Yeah. I mean, if you're making $75,000, that used to be good.
Yeah.
Now you're struggling.
Paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
Paycheck, and not even paycheck to paycheck would be better. We're living credit card to credit card. Like, so all these things, student loan forgiveness. There needs to be a debt forgiveness in this country. Like, there's a lot of things that need to happen, and the way to do that is take advantage of the fact that this guy has pushed us so far right. And honestly, at this point, I don't even know if it's right anymore. It's not conservative. I don't know what this movement is. Right. It's just racist and fascist. He's pushed us so far.
It's just changing, basically just fucking bull in the china shop.
This is not the time to be centrist. It's not. It's
time. But this is the problem with Democrats, though. To me, Democrats are. This is the problem. And I said this after the election in November, that this is the time for the party to pivot off of Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, the Clintons, and I hate to say it, even Obama's. If you want to change in a real way, you have to pivot.
Listen,
but they won't.
The specter of drone strikes on brown people that follow Obama. I love Obama, but it's for young people, for progressives, for a lot. Like, he's never going to be it. So, like, let's move on from the ghosts of the past. Yeah. Like, now is a time. Like, the only old person that should be involved in anything is Bernie Sanders at this point.
I was just going to ask you that too. I'm glad you just mentioned his name, because I was going to ask you about that. What is the disconnect with Bernie Sanders and the black community? I don't get it. There is. Apparently there is.
I think it's older.
It's older blacks, right?
Blacks. Younger progressive black people love Bernie Sanders.
Right.
And I don't know. And listen, and when you talk about the Obamas and the Bidens and the Clintons, James Clyburn, bye. And I know David Hogg got in a lot of trouble saying it. I'll say it too. Like, so if it's the James Clyburns of the world, the same one who basically screwed Bernie out of his shot in 2016.
Yep.
In 2020, I don't think Bernie had a shot then, but maybe.
But they consolidated. Biden, in 2020 though.
But Clyburn, I mean, he can go too. Any of these establishment Democrats, black or white. Like, listen, the one of the greatest fallacies of this country is that there are a lot of racial problems in this country. Do not get me wrong. I will never discount that. But the biggest problem we have is a class issue.
Bingo.
All right. So the James Clyburns, these establishment Democrats that are all millionaires and billionaires, like, listen, they go to the same clubs, the same parties. I don't believe they're as fundamentally evil as MAGAs, but I'm also not going to say they're a bunch of innocent people with no blood on their hands. I mean, I know like the Ilhan Omars and the Rashida Tlaibs. I know they're controversial, but they need to be leaning that way. Even the Pete Buttigieg is way more progressive than any of these establishment Democrats. Listen, a guy like John Ossoff, like that to
Georgia.
me,
Yep.
yeah, he's. I mean, I don't think he's the most progressive in the world, but he leans that way. I mean, if you don't want to go as far as AOC, John Ossoff is the kind of guy I would be looking at. I don't know if the world is ready for a gay president. I think it's. I mean, honestly, Pete Buttigieg is probably one of the smartest minds we have. As far not smartest mind, but I bet the best communicator. I think he's the best communicator the Democratic Party has.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the world's ready for it, but I mean, he's the kind of guy. At least he needs to be at the forefront of any campaign. Part
of the problem with Democrats too, also, is that they especially the modern Democrats too, is that they promise all this stuff and maybe do 10% of the things they promise.
Well, so the funny thing is, it's because they believe in the guardrails.
Yes,
they believe in the checks and balances. They are not going to steamroll it like Donald Trump is.
Right.
But what I would say to them is stop fucking bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like, stop with this, like, just puss-ass politics. Like, they are not playing fair on the other side. But all you ever want to do is bring lawsuits, and let's get it done through legislation, which, by all means. But you know what? Like, Biden should have just kept fucking going with it. I know he did. He forgave a lot of student loans, but he should have just kept going with that executive pen and just kept it up. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with executive orders, which honestly is a problem. We've gone too far with it. It's terrible, but at some point, like, they're not playing fair. Right. So stop with the fairness. Like, get rid of the filibuster. Do whatever the fuck you have to do. Like, the fact that we didn't pack the court during Biden's administration because we felt like we're trying to adhere to these norms. The norms are gone. This is the most partisan, most corrupt Supreme Court we've ever had. But instead of packing it's 9 Supreme Court justices, that's nowhere in the Constitution.
Right.
There's nowhere that it says the only reason there's 9 Supreme Court justices is because there were 9 district courts. There's now 13. They should have packed the fucking court with 4 more progressive judges. They didn't do it because they're trying to. They're sticking to the norms. These motherfuckers are trying to suspend habeas corpus. Like, they are not playing by the same rules you are. And if you continue to do, it's like just sitting there. You're playing basketball, and somebody's continuing to elbow you in the neck, and they're not getting called for the foul, and you're playing on. No, bro, you better take a motherfucker out. You better call UD. You better call Udonis. Like, come on. Like, that's my whole thing is, like, stop playing nice. Like, stop running centrist. Get rid of the establishment. Like, go younger. Go inspire people. People are so ready to be inspired. They're out there on their own without democratic leadership. Just protests all over the country.
Yeah.
No leadership. They're looking for a leader. And if we run out another centrist fucking Democrat, I mean, and honestly, they'll probably win, but then they'll lose again in 4 years.
Yeah. And do once again 10% of the things they promise.
Yeah,
that's simple. No, I was like you after the election. I said, you know what? I was so burnt out in politics, and I was arguing more with people who I agree with and with people I disagree with. Even my own wife, we heard I'm getting into fights and shit. We vote on the same side. I was like, I need a break. So I stopped watching all my shows for a little while and stopped watching all the content for a little while. I need a break. Now I'm slowly getting back to it again now because now I've had a little more time away from the election, and midterms, like I said, is only like 16 months away. And you say it's a lot of time. It ain't a lot of time. That shit goes fast.
That shit comes. That shit. It creeps up on you. And but what I would have to say is, like, the Democrats, they have a great opportunity, but nobody's ever wasted a good opportunity like a Democrat.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. All right. Last thing, we'll get you out of here, man. I mentioned to you earlier when we started the show, looking great. We've been talking off the record, you and I, for last year or so. You've been putting a lot of priority into your health now, into eating healthy and whatnot. What triggered this? What's your story?
As I'm drinking on a Wednesday night, it was a long day at work.
Okay.
But no,
all about balance, brother. All
yeah.
about balance.
I mean, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. I was the last time I got on a scale before I started losing weight, I was 286.5.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
How tall
and
are
I'm
you?
6 foot. So no, it
Okay.
ain't. I ain't 6'5" to it.
Right.
No, 6 foot, 280, 285, I think 286.5. And I know I was bigger than that at points, right? I just wouldn't get on the scale.
Right.
Like this morning, 235. So I've lost over 50 pounds.
Yeah.
High blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea.
Mm-hmm. Sleep apnea too? Shit.
Yeah, all the things, pre-diabetic. So basically I was killing myself.
Yeah.
Slowly. But not even slowly, because that shit, sleep apnea, take you out. Like that, one night you're Reggie White, one night you're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I really, for my daughter, I have, I'm 44 years old with a 2.5-year-old daughter. It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Without being, not being able to move, not be able to play, not be able to run. I got bad knees, bad shoulders, bad elbows. Got it. I can't compound all these things with a 300-pound frame. So that really was my impetus. Like going to LA Fitness every morning. I bought a treadmill. I hung a TV in front of it. I watch Heat games, and I have routines where I go a certain speed during the game, because if I go too fast, I'm paying too close attention, I might fall. But during free throws, I go up. Sometimes when I'm mad that they're losing, I go up faster. During commercials, I increase the speed. I do all these things to just keep my mind off the fact that I'm exercising. And 4 miles later, I'm like, oh wow, good workout, right? Found a gym at LA Fitness across the street from my daughter's little preschool. Go there, drop her off, go there every morning, like just try to eat as right as I can. Like also watching all these damn documents.
I had the same thing too. Also, I'm type 2 diabetic. 2 years ago, I hit a wall. I have type 2 diabetic, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, the whole nine, all that shit too. And it's gotten better in the last 2 years. It's still a long way to go, and I'm still struggling with the nutrition part. I just realized recently my hormones were really, really low, and I've started doing TRT this last month or so. That's helped a little bit, raise my testosterone levels and stuff. But yeah, I'm 45, man. I just turned 45 last week, and it's
happy birthday.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. It's a challenge, bro. And again, like you, I have 2 kids. I have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old, and two boys who are very, very, very active. Yeah. So I gotta keep up with them. You know what I mean? So this shit's hard, man. And eating healthy is, oh my god, it's tough, man. It is so hard.
First of all, the older you get, the harder it is. And
dude, you and I both Caribbean guys too. On top of that, I'm from Trinidad, so
yeah. Oh, we love rice. Like I literally can't eat rice. I can't. And I love rice.
You stop it completely?
I almost I probably eat rice once a month.
I had rice today, actually.
I can't do it.
I cut back on it, but I had it today.
I can't do it. I react terribly to it. And part of it is just we eat a bunch of shit in this country. I mean, honestly, and another thing that's helped is all these stupid fucking Netflix documentaries on where our food comes from. Scared the shit out me. And listen, and part of the problem is shit is expensive to eat healthy, right? Mm-hmm. My wife and I only get our meat from Butcher Box now. Not fucking expensive that shit is.
We do all these.
But it's really expensive to eat well, eat right, to eat good meat. Our eggs, my wife insists on organic pasture raised. It's just $12 a dozen.
That's us too, also pasture raised.
Yeah. But you have and honestly, for your health, you have to do it. And what you have to do is control the fact that if I'm spending all this money on groceries, I can't eat out, right? And then because you're eating out, you're eating shit. I've made a conscious effort, I think. probably once in the last 6 months, I've eaten at a place with a drive-through.
Wow.
Like it was a Zaxby's because I was way out somewhere in Georgia. I was starving. Like I had to get I got some chicken sandwich. I was sick for 2 days just because my body's not used to it anymore.
Yeah.
That's also that's hard for a whole swath of people because it's just, it's funny when people are like, oh, you don't use food stamps on junk food.
Mm-hmm.
Junk food's cheap. Like when you have to feed an entire family, sometimes you have to buy a bunch of junk food. Like you have 2 boys.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine you have 2 boys and you're on food stamps. Like you have to stretch that shit out. You know how much crap you're gonna, and then 2 young boys, the kind of shit they want to eat.
Right.
They want to eat crap. And if all you have is money for crap, that's what you're going to be feeding them. So we just have an issue with this. Like to eat healthy is cost prohibitive. Which if you said you're trying to eat better, we're finding out. Like you want pasture raised eggs, yeah, that shit gonna cost you.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you're risking all kinds of bullshit, cancers and all kinds of other stuff. So it's the nutrition part is actually the most important part, as you know. Like you can exercise, do all the things in the world. I could be 235 and still be near death, right?
Yeah.
Because even I lost 50 pounds of the junk I'm putting in my body is killing me. So that's been the biggest thing, and it's been really expensive, and it's been hard to keep up. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. Like I say, I avoid drive-thrus, but that doesn't mean I'm on a work trip for 3-4 days. I've been eating my weight in chicken wings. Okay,
but chicken wings not bad though.
Huh?
Just don't put chicken wings not bad though. Chicken wings is fine. Just don't eat the sauce and shit, the sugar in it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the best part. What are you talking about? I want blue cheese. I want
my wife. So my wife and the cool thing about this journey for me now is that my wife, who's had weight problems all her life, the last 2 years she's gotten super serious with her nutrition to where she's strict now. She's in great shape now. She exercises all the time. She's completely flipped the script on everything she's done now. She now makes our own sauce now. So sugar-free sauce. She makes her own. She makes her own like vinaigrette dressing. She makes her own mayonnaise. She makes her own, and there are things you can do. It's going to take some work and some money, but there are things you can do to curb that. And she started doing because I love wings. So she made me barbecue. Not barbecue. I'm sorry, buffalo sauce with no sugar.
Well, yeah,
it's amazing.
Good buffalo sauce shouldn't have sugar, but if you look at if you buy buffalo sauce, you're probably doing, she's using all whole ingredients, right? So if you buy red hot buffalo wing sauce,
right?
Yeah, there's no carbs, there's no sugar, but then you look at the bullshit on the back of it, how many dextrose, distros, statstros,
right? Yeah.
It's just
it's seed oils and shit, yeah.
And so there's a balance to everything. Like you said, chicken wings are not bad. Like I get chicken wings from Butcher Box, and when I make them at home in the air fryer, nothing wrong with them, right? But now the problem is if I go out and eat chicken wings, I'm getting the sauce, I'm getting the blue cheese. I don't know where this chicken's from. It's fried in some shitty oil. It's that's more, but I think we've talked about it a little bit, back and forth in private, these ideas that all these fats and things are terrible for you. Like butter's the worst thing. Remember when they were trying to tell you eggs were terrible? Yep. And now we found out eggs are a superfood.
Fats are great for you too also. Yep.
Fats are great for you. I used to be afraid to cook with butter, but now
I like cooking with butter. Yes, all I cook with butter.
Now I buy pure Irish butter, which is fantastic for you. I cook with that.
Right.
Like I make all my daughter's food. I make with butter because fats and all that stuff is good for her. Yeah, and she needs proteins and all that. So there are this idea that bacon's terrible for you. Bacon's not terrible for you.
No. Just be careful of the sodium. Don't eat too much.
The sodium, yeah. But you get good bacon that's not cured and full of sodium and full of bullshit. Like there's ways to eat really good food, but you can also be very healthy. Now the problem, like we said, expensive, time consuming. Like what your wife is doing is fantastic, but it's hard to find the time for that.
She's doing carnivore.
Yeah,
she's doing full carnivore.
And these things are good for you, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do right. It's just what I would say to anybody, and I'm not a health I'm not a health.
Neither am I.
Yeah, but I would say to anybody, just do your best. all the time, right? And don't beat yourself up silly over mistakes you made. But when
Right.
you're able to do right, when you're able to avoid the drive-through and go home and cook, right? Okay, let's say you can't buy the organic lettuce. Still eating a salad, it's still like people are like, oh, salads are terrible for you. Sure, but they're better than a burger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I had a friend one time, I was eating a salad, trying to do what was right for me. He's like, oh man, you know how much fat is in that dressing? As he's downing a bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I know this is not perfect, but it's better than what you're eating right now, or it's better than the alternative. It's always just trying to do a little bit better. Like people say, like diet sodas are not good for you, right? They're not great for you, but it's better than drinking, Kool-Aid full of sugar or like a sweet tea from a restaurant, right?
Soda is actually one of my biggest things to cut. Like I still drink it once in a blue moon, but it's I haven't completely cut it out because I like to treat myself once in a while to a soda. You know what I mean?
And once in a while, like listen, don't beat yourself up over that. You're doing the right thing. You're making good decisions. And if you can't get rid of soda, it's better to drink a diet soda than it is to drink a full sugar soda.
Yeah.
But
I'll drink Coke Zero sometimes.
Coke, and listen, and it's still not the greatest thing for you, but it's better than drinking a full-fledged Coke.
Right.
But at the same time, it'd be great if all you ever drank was water. But how realistic is that?
And the thing is, his thing. I keep main thing. When you talk about nutrition and exercise and stuff, keep main thing. Movement. This everyday move around. Yeah. I walk every day 2 miles a day. Every day. I wake up in the morning and I get up and just walk around my development, do fucking 5 laps. That's 2 miles right there. Okay. Then I go to the gym after that. Do legs. Then I do arms. Keep it simple and easy. Just keep the main thing. Food too also. Drink a lot of water. You have fun once in a while, but drink a lot of water. Eat mostly protein, more protein than carbs. That's it.
And listen, and I'm not the one to be the best advocate for it, but like the alcohol is killing you.
I don't drink. I barely drink anyways.
I drink. I honestly, I'd be 195 right now if it wasn't for alcohol. Right? Damn, I'm telling you, like that shit is like my biggest vice. And I'm doing better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, but like I said, I'm also not gonna beat myself up over it. Like I was like, I told myself I wasn't gonna drink. I did a good job having a drink all week, and I just had a shitty ass day today. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have a drink. Okay,
my A1C when I started this process was 11.4.
See, I don't even know what mine is, but I know it's not to the point.
Right.
Where are you now? So
it got down to a 7.1 at one point. Now I do take metformin and take meds with that to help me out because it was too high. I had to bring it down immediately. Mm-hmm. The last time I checked was it was 8. It was still high. I need to bring it down.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the improvement.
Yeah, exactly. I also do intermittent fast every day. I fast every day.
I try to eat between 10 and 6. So it's not
that's fine.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes so I'm not strict on it, but I'm pretty damn good at it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty good at doing it.
No, it's good because I think the fasting for me has been a great thing for me because it limits the bullshit in my system.
Yeah,
it limits it. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the problems I had for years, I would eat late and I would do this, and not only when I eat shitty, I would eat shitty a lot, or I'll drink soda, but I'll drink multiple things of soda. So at least with fasting keeps everything within the window.
Dude, you know how many times I would get off at hangover time at 1:00 in the morning and order Taco Bell?
Oh, I miss those days.
Do you know how bad I love it, but you know how bad that is for you?
It's terrible.
Because I would literally eat it while on the couch falling asleep. Like, yeah, just after consuming copious amounts of alcohol. So, yeah, brother. Like, listen, man, the journey is not easy. I would tell you the last 2 doctor visits was the first time I can remember. And this is even when I was in like really good shape. Right. It's first time I've had normal blood pressure. Right. Like not elevated, not like
I
stopped taking all my blood pressure medication.
Wow, good job. I take losartan still. So
I was taking a torvastatin.
That's a cholesterol. That's for cholesterol.
Oh yeah, I stopped taking that. There was a metropolol or another one. I stopped. I didn't even consult my doctor. I just said I'm going to lose the weight. I'm not going to take this medication anymore. Right. So I stopped, and like my cholesterol levels are good. My blood pressure's good. Sleep apnea. My wife says I'm not snoring anymore. I don't wake up. I don't wake up in a panic, drenched in sweat anymore.
Right.
Because that like sleep apnea is probably the thing that scared me the most.
Of course.
Because like, why did you wake up drenched? Oh, because my heart stopped in the middle of the night, and the amount of effort to get my heart started again is why I'm profusely sweating. Like, that is a scary thing to explore. Yeah, that's what it is.
But people don't realize that sleep apnea is attached to high blood pressure and all these other things.
No, it's all connected.
Right.
And there's people who could be skinny as can be and still have sleep apnea. Mine is completely controlled by my weight.
Right.
So there's people
which is a good thing, so you can control it.
Yeah. But I wasn't. I was just letting myself die. You know what I mean? I was literally just killing myself early. And I say I love my daughter, but do I? Do I love my wife if I'm killing myself? Like, if I'm not doing everything I possibly can to be there for them as long as possible?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, those are the things you got to ask yourself. Like, you say you love your wife, you love your kids. But do you love them if, like, you can't even control the things that are in your control? Like, listen, I can get hit by a bus tomorrow, but that's out of my control. What I can control is the fact that I don't have to die tonight. It sounds crazy, but I can control that. Like, and who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But I will say, like, I just want to make sure I'm doing my part, to the best of my ability within reason, to just make sure I'm here as long as possible. Right. I'm already going to be like 70 at her high school graduation, which is ridiculous. So,
what? Say again?
60. I'll be
60. That's damn. What the fuck? That's aging yourself. Jesus, bro, relax. It's okay.
Who knows? It might be like another 10-year pandemic where she, graduates in 20. You never know, man.
I think that's 5 years ago. That's insane. 5 years ago that thing happened.
Yeah,
unbelievable. But Al, thanks for coming on the pod as always. You have anything you want to plug? Nearly 2-hour conversation today, man. That's good.
Yeah, no, nothing to plug. Just check out Miami Heat Beat at MIA Heat Beat on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We don't do much on Instagram, mostly on Twitter. Check us out on YouTube, Miami Heat Beat. Subscribe. Check out the podcast everywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out. We'll be doing stuff over the summer. I think we just did a pod with Ethan Skolnick. I wasn't on it, but the guys do a great job. Even when I'm not there, they do a better job when I'm not there. When I'm there, I become disruptive and chaotic. I'm usually drunk. I'm usually talking shit, cursing, going off on tangents. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that, for the record.
The last game of the year, like, we spent the last 20 minutes talking about 100 men versus one gorilla.
Jesus.
So that.
By the way, what's your thoughts on that, real quick?
We're kicking that gorilla's ass, bro.
No, I already said on record that, first off, I'll never be involved with that. Number one. Number two, he'll kill the first 30 people and the next 70 run away.
No, see, that's the problem. So you have to approach the premise correctly. All right. If you give me 100 dudes that are about this killing gorilla life, who understand that 45 of us or so ain't gonna make it, right? And understand, if you're in the first 2-3 waves, you're done, right? But what we have to do, we're going to overwhelm the gorilla. The gorillas have bad stamina. People don't talk about this. They have terrible stamina, right? So after he kills 30, first of all, and they're not good fighters. People, the gorillas swing. They do this thing, all right? They're not great fighters, right? So the thing is, and it's as long as you come in the right waves, you have guys who are ready, who are willing and down for the cause. Like, you have to be about this kill the gorilla life. You have to be willing to do things. You got to bite its nuts. You got to tear it like ears and things, rip things off. Like, and then eventually you will overwhelm, tire the gorilla out. You put enough weight on the gorilla, and then you will pin him down, and you will just have to beat him to death. And it doesn't sound pretty. It's not as sexy as just saying a gorilla is just going to rip everybody's limbs off. I get it. 45 of us at least are going to die. But I
ain't one of them, because I ain't going to be there. Shit.
No, listen, I'll tell you, you give me 10 of my best friends and we clone each other 10 times over, we're fucking that gorilla up.
Yeah, I will hide behind you guys. I ain't gonna.
You'll be 101.
You know how they say they put the black men first and black person in the movie. Fuck that. I ain't part of that situation.
That's what I'm saying. You have to approach the premise. You can't have 100 scared men, right? You have to have 100 like dudes that know that half of them are gonna die and be okay with that.
Yeah, not me. I'm good. I love my kids too much and my wife too much to
listen,
deal with that shit.
Yeah,
that's some white people shit, bro. I'm sorry.
That's a young, that killing gorilla stuff. That's a young man's game in the first place, and a young white man's game.
I was gonna say that because I'm married to a white woman. I told my wife that I go, this is some white people shit. Come on now.
Yeah,
I'm on. That's not what I'll be doing. Fuck that.
No,
get the fuck out of here, bro. Kill a gorilla.
Not gonna do it, but I'm telling you, if we're gonna do it, we're winning that shit.
Yeah. Good job, Alf, as always, man. That was great. We'll have you on the show again.
No problem. Anytime, man. Anytime,
You got it, brother.